this video right here. The heavyweight division needs to be nuked by the fighting business. So my immediate assumptions going off of this from my knowledge is that I know that the what's it called? The heavyweight division is like the most dangerous because like let's say you see the lightweight division because both people are what's it called, are short and thin. The blows don't hurt as much and they don't cause as much damage. But as you get bigger, the damage you dish out and the damage you can take uh they don't climb as good. The damage you take is that doesn't increase that much that well, but the damage you can dish out is a whole lot. So I assume we're gonna see many injuries and stuff like that. Okay, let's get it.
Big reset by Teixeira. 2 minutes to go. We got two exhausted heavyweights as Teixeira touches the body.
You see these guys right here? That's Taito Iwasa and Talishan Teixeira, two guys who are not only professional UFC heavyweight fighters, but two guys ranked inside the top 15. Do you not see a problem with this? Since 1993, MMA has been evolving at a crazy pace. The lighter weight classes have adapted, sharpened their skills, and become more technical with every generation. But heavyweights? It feels like it's gone in the opposite direction. Instead of evolving, it's been slowly devolving over time. There was a point when
How though?
heavyweight was the must-watch division. We had generational talent like Cain Velasquez, Junior Dos Santos, Big Nog, and Frank Mir running the show. And even outside the UFC, legends like Fedor or Mirko Krokop were ruling the world. Heavyweight felt special back then.
Dude. Wow. He's not even like really flexing hard. He's still smiling.
He's so jacked.
Oh my God.
He is so jacked.
Fast forward to 2026, and we're seeing the end
What?
result of years
Bro, what happened? The difference. This okay, and now I'm seeing the downgrade. Why is this happening? It's crazy. Look at the difference. Before, now. I know it's not the same person, not the same person. But yeah, the fact that this was the body type then, and then this is the body type now for heavyweight is how, bro? How? How does it work? How does this work?
of decline. Fighters like Taito Iwasa and Derek Lewis are guessed not after a round.
He's terrible. And when I
Right.
Decline. Fighters like Taito Iwasa and Derek Lewis are guessed not after a round.
He's terrible. And when I say that, it sounds like such an insult. What an insult to say this guy's terrible. No, he's terrible.
The division is stuck in a weird stalemate where the so-called champion ducked the #1 contender, who by the way is now recovering from an eye poke that could keep him out for another 6 or 7 months. So I have to ask, what went wrong? How did we get here? Why are average guys like Shamil Gaziev and Talishan Teixeira sitting in the top 15? And most importantly, what needs to change right now for the heavyweight division to recover?
Yeah, I'm really curious because it is so weird. How does this happen?
The fighting business is one of my favorite new channels going right now.
Thank you to the fighting business. Absolutely amazing.
Like you would assume the top guys are like yoked like that other guy before. Like, okay, now just continue.
Landmark
Let's see.
martial arts event. 8 of the deadliest fighters in the world will meet in a no-holds-barred combat to determine who is the ultimate fighting champion. Be forewarned, there are no rules, no judges' scores, and no time.
MMA started back in 1993. That's just 33 years ago. For reference, most major league sports started in the early
Mm,
1900s. And that difference in time does
dang,
one specific thing.
it's pretty
It
young.
shapes the evolution of the sport.
People are talking about
Yeah, I didn't realize it's such a young sport.
the violence of this particular sport. Yes, it is violent, but you have a lot of action, excitement, and science. If you don't know your skills, don't get out here. If you don't know how to fight on the floor, don't come out here, people.
When a sport is still new, Each year sees major improvements. The sport becomes more popular, the competition pool gets larger, the technique gets refined, and the athletes just get better at a really fast pace. And that's exactly what we've seen throughout every division in the UFC, except for one, heavyweight. And if you don't believe me, just look at these numbers. The heavyweight division has the highest finish rate in the UFC, sitting at around 68%, compared to the featherweights or bantamweight, who only finish their fight 47% of the time. That contrast is pretty obvious. Now you might be thinking, that's great, I want to see some
Yeah, why is
KOs.
that bad?
And you know what? Me too. But this statistic right here explained the slow or damn near non existent evolution of the heavyweight division. Knocking someone out cold in front of the whole world has always been way more impressive to casual fans than winning a clean technical battle that goes to the judges. When one punch can end a fight, you
Oh,
don't
yeah,
need
that's
to
true.
evolve. And for years, heavyweights didn't.
Oh, so this is at least one of the reasons, like as I said before, of like you dish out more damage than you can take, so it's easier to knock your opponent out.
I need to sit my black ass down and do some more cardio. What you talking about right now? I ain't trying to fight for no title right now. Not with no gas tank like that.
Yeah, so knockouts would be
To
easier.
figure out what the hell happened to this slop fest of a division, we need to look at the UFC's other divisions. If you look at bantamweight, featherweight, lightweight, and even welterweight to some extent, those divisions are better than they've ever been. Like I said, years of evolution have made them faster, more technical, and far more well-rounded, both offensively and defensively.
I love watching someone reach a level that we have never seen before, and the cardio that this guy has, the drive, and the improvement in the striking, the ability to finish on the ground, to submit him. I mean, he's got to start finishing people now.
So, compared to 10 or 20 years ago, these divisions have leveled up massively. But the heavyweights, these guys didn't level up at the same pace. And in today's MMA, the heavyweight division is by far the worst and least talented division in the sport.
It's so weird. Heavyweight division, baddest man on the planet, just the scariest division known to man. And yeah, it's been weird the last few years. Like the heavyweight divisions has kind of been not super exciting, not super interesting. Yeah, the division's just not that fun. I saw someone saying get rid of it or whatever, but
Lighter fighters couldn't rely on one-punch knockout power to win fights. They had to find other ways. They had to master technique, movement, timing, and strategy, outsmarting and outmaneuvering their opponents instead of just swinging for the fences. Heavyweights, on the other hand, never really felt that same pressure to evolve. When you're 260 pounds with nuclear power in your hands, all it takes is one mistake from your opponent, one small opening, and the fight can be over.
It's so fun to watch, though, because you just don't know what's going to happen.
You're exactly right.
Oh!
And
I
because that
don't even
approach
have to
worked
be
for so
fit.
long, there was never a real sense of urgency to improve technically. Another big issue is how punishing this weight class can be. A featherweight can attempt a risky submission, still scramble back to his feet without major consequences. But at heavyweights, losing position can be a disaster. A few heavy ground and pound shots can end the fight on the spot. And even if it doesn't, getting stuck underneath a big guy for the rest of the round can instantly cost you the round. So taking risk, especially with submissions, just never felt worth it. Combine that with the why not just knock him out mindset, and you've got a division that never truly had to evolve. That's how we ended up here. Bad cardio, slow pace, and some seriously unathletic body types becoming the norm. Heavyweights focused on what worked and what carried the least risk, rather than experimenting and improving, because the punishment for messing up could be a brutal knockout. The lighter weight classes didn't have that luxury. They had to evolve. They had the freedom to test things, fail, adapt, and figure out and what worked and what didn't. And that's why they're miles ahead today.
I represent the new generation of mixed martial arts. The skill development that I'm bringing to the sport is completely different.
Did you watch Derek Lewis versus Waldo Cortez Acosta?
Yeah, so what do you think goes down Saturday night with Waldo?
I think I could get him out of there first exchange of the fight.
First exchange?
Yeah, just because he don't respect my power, so I believe
really?
I could really hurt him.
Derek has always relied pretty much only on one shot, and once the fight hit round two, he was completely gassed. The way he folded and looked for a way out, man, he genuinely looked like someone who had never fought before. And if you thought that fight was bad, the Taito Ivasa versus Talisha Teixeira fight somehow managed to be even worse. By the third round, both guys were so exhausted that it looked less like a professional.
Bro, see the time. I'm not even fighting anymore.
even worse. By the third round, both guys were so exhausted that it looked less like a professional MMA fight and more like two drunk dudes swinging at each other outside a bar. Now, sure, Tai is out of shape and cardio has never been his strong suit, but what about Talishan? This guy was supposed to be the fresh air in the division, a 26-year-old BJJ black belt, a prospect we were told to get excited about.
Taliesin Teixeira, 100% finishing rate all in round one.
The man is a finishing machine, 6'8", an 83-inch reach, the tallest and longest guy we've ever seen.
And just to really put into perspective how bad the heavyweight division is right now, Tai
Wait, so 6'4" is the tallest that's ever been in MMA? Or is it specifically saying that he's seen it in a fight that he's been what's it called, announcer for?
Tuivasa, who's on a 6-fight losing streak and hasn't won a fight. Bad the heavyweight division is right now. Tai Tuivasa, who's on a 6-fight losing streak and hasn't won a fight since 2022, is still ranked in the top 20 of the current best MMA heavyweights in the world on Topology. Let that sink in for a second.
I think something's got to change. I mean, back in the day, back in my day, you go on a fucking 3-fight losing streak, you're cut.
Yeah.
You're cut.
Take any of these guys, put them in a time capsule, and drop them in the early 2010s against fighters like Fabricio Verdum or Cain Velasquez. They would have gotten absolutely slaughtered. And that's the frustrating part, because Aspinall and Cyril Gahn are proof that all hope isn't lost. These are heavyweights who move like middleweights, guys who can actually pull off techniques that are rarely seen at this weight class. Especially Tom, a genuinely well-rounded fighter. He can knock you out on the feet or submit you on the ground. He's the complete package. Those two are what an evolved heavyweight division should look like. They prove that heavyweights can improve and evolve after all. The problem is, two guys alone aren't enough to save an entire division.
But it's still so confusing. Like as using the example that he used of taking them like back in time in the peak right now and the peak of the fighters before them. Like is the some how are some of the top guys like absolutely awful? Like would it make sense that eventually the people that do not perform like are put down on the leaderboard by people who get in that are better? Like why is there lack of people that are good coming in? Still doesn't make sense to me.
Another big problem is that heavyweights tend to start MMA later in life. Late starts mean an aging
Mm.
roster, and that shows up in poor
Oh,
cardio and limited time to actually improve. The average age of ranked UFC heavyweights is around 33.4 years, the highest of
damn. Yeah.
any man's division. Most lower divisions sit closer to 30 to 32 years old, which means
Shouldn't you be retiring in fighting in your 30s? That does not seem safe at all. Like your 30s when your bones start crying for no reason.
younger athletes, faster turnover, and more evolution. The data backs this too, showing that the division average is 32.5 years in age, which is, again, older than most divisions. So now you've got the heaviest division and the oldest one. And there's a saying in combat sports that power is the last thing to go as you age. That's exactly why so many heavyweights stick to it and rely almost exclusively on power as they creep closer to their late 30s and 40s. At heavyweight, you can still
Oh, I
take someone with
see.
a background in another sport, like Greg Hardy, for example, coming from football, throw him into MMA, and he can find some level of success purely because of power. Try doing that at lightweights or featherweights, and
Yeah,
it's
not gonna
basically
work.
impossible. Brock Lesnar came over from WWE and became a UFC champion. Sure, he was a legit wrestler, but you get the point. Now, compare that to CM Punk. He tried the same thing and quickly found out that lighter weight classes don't work that way. You need well-rounded skills, elite cardio, and real experience everywhere. There are no shortcuts. Even if we look back at the so-called heavyweight golden era, with names like Stipe Miocic, Cain Velasquez, or Brock Lesnar, technique was still lacking compared to lighter divisions. More often than not, power was the main weapon. You almost never saw heavyweights pulling off spinning back kick knockouts like Edson Barbosa or hitting arm bars from the bottom the way lighter fighters do. Even back then, the gap was obvious, and over time, that gap turned into laziness, relying on one-punch knockout instead of pushing technical growth, which brings us to where we are today. Heavyweights simply can't move at the same pace for 5 rounds like smaller fighters do. Greater body mass means more energy required to move, more oxygen needed for muscles, and a much higher chance of fatigue. Moving 250 pounds takes a lot more energy than moving 155. Heavyweights tire faster, slow down earlier, and that makes them easier to hit and harder to defend themselves. In grappling, gravity makes it harder to lift or throw a massive opponent, which is why strength often gets prioritized over technique at heavyweight. And you know what? USADA may
This
have
guy is
had the
making a little
biggest
more
impact
sense
on the
now.
heavyweights, and maybe not necessarily in a good way. Think about it. Before USADA, fighters could use TRT regularly, recover faster, overcome fatigue, and train just as hard as lighter fighters. That's why we had guys like Alistair Overeem and Brock Lesnar looking like comic book characters. Not only were they massive, but they could push a fast pace, absorb damage, and maintain cardio for at least 3 rounds. Back then, the only fat heavyweight was Roy Nelson. Look at the division now. Roy Nelson would have looked like the gold standard. For the sake
Yeah,
of
that's
argument,
crazy.
just compare Taito Ivasa or Shamil Gaziev today with Overeem or Brock Lesnar in the early 2010s. The difference is night and day. And as if
Yep.
watching heavyweight gas out after a single round wasn't bad enough, the championship situation has completely killed any hope of a quick comeback for the division. The whole Tom Aspinall interim belt saga was painful to watch.
I honestly can see John's point of view. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. It's just about the title for me.
Yep.
I just want the title, that's it.
Yep.
Does nothing else really matters. So
John Jones clearly ducked him for over a year, holding the division hostage before allegedly retiring. Then, just when it looked like we were finally moving forward with Tom Aspinall versus Cyril,
I've heard MMA fighters doing that, or UFC fighters. So basically, they win a lot of matches. They get their belt, get that title, and then instead of like going back to fight someone to defend the title, he just he just retires and keeps the title. Bro, so it's ridiculous.
allegedly retiring. Then, just when it looked like we were finally moving forward with Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane for the undisputed title, we got that unfortunate eye poke, and now Aspinall is sidelined for another 6 or 7 months. Sure, guys like Tuivasa or Gaziev were never going to save the division, but we were at least hoping talents like Tom Aspinall would rise and carry heavyweight forward.
What I really like is every time he wants to learn. Is it? Yeah. When he's got loads of space. Yeah, he got. It's so
That's some cool
nice
tattoos.
to teach somebody that's on a really good level and still like so eager, like, oh, give me more, and I'll just like pour more on him.
Instead, it somehow managed to get even worse. So, all of this leads to one big question. If the heavyweight division is slow to evolve, constantly stall at the top, and clearly falling behind, what needs to be done so that it can be reborn again?
Taito Ivasa, guys. He's terrible.
I think just better fighters going in. Like, I guess I can see a little bit of how this happened, but it's still confusing how this happened, bro. Because like like really, how how do better fighters not come in? Like, I have no
And when
words.
I say that, it sounds like such an insult. What an insult to say this guy's terrible. No, he's terrible. If a guy ever tells you, yeah, I'm feeling confident for this fight, what he is saying to you is, I feel if the worst case comes, which is the fight goes the distance, it's a 15-minute fight. I feel when I reach the 14th minute, I can still follow the golden rule, which is to protect myself. He looked tired a couple minutes into it.
The UFC needs to stop pretending that being 265 pounds is automatically impressive. Scouts and matchmakers need to value speed, footwork, recovery, and gas tanks. But now the question is that even possible at heavyweights? And I think with guys like Gable Stevenson coming up, it is. He's doing backflips like he's a lightweight, he has legitimate one-punch knockout power, and some people even call him an upgraded version of DC. Now, whether that's true or not is another conversation, but the point is, there is some potential. And you know what else? No more hostage situations. When that happens, contenders stagnate, matchup die, and momentum completely disappears. The John Jones situation was catastrophic for
I assume when what is talking about hostage is the belting of retiring before instead of defending your title.
die, and momentum completely disappears. The John Jones situation was catastrophic for the heavyweight division, and it should never happen again. The UFC needs strict deadlines for title defenses, no super fights if contenders are waiting, and interim belts actually have to mean something. If you won't defend, you vacate. Simple. But most of
Yep.
all, heavyweight needs pressure. Every other division evolved because it had to. Heavyweight never did. Until now. Once power alone stops being enough, the division will have no choice but to finally evolve. Because the truth is, heavyweight isn't the only thing that stopped evolving. Even retirements became fake, temporary, reversible the moment money calls.
Yep. Uh, Floyd. Yeah, Floyd Mayweather.
That's the story I told in this last video. And
Oh, talking about different guy. Okay.
once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Also, it's a common thing. I thought it was just a few people. So it seems it's common that UFC fighters don't thingy. Yeah, UFC fighters like don't retire. They like fake retire. Say, hey, I'm retired, and then they come back for some reason. Like, bro, you're old man. Just quit, bro. Like, you got the money. You got like, bruh. Like enough. Your best years are behind you, bro. Don't get more brain damage. I agree with you. If you're a big dude with athletic skills, it just makes sense to do any other type of sport to make significantly more money. That's true. Like if you're really tall, basketball is for you and safer. But if you're over 6'3" and athletic, why would you want to join a sport where you only get 20K to win as a new fighter? Oh, okay. They don't get paid as good as like other sports. The fact is, UFC pay structure keeps talent uninterested if they can play any other sport professionally. Okay, I'm learning. I'm learning. The best athletes of that size are not going to the UFC to get pennies on. Oh, that's probably why. Yeah, that makes sense now. Because if you sorry, if you actually like got those genes, you are tall, you're very athletic, it's better to go to other sports. Because number one, they pay better. Number two, you what's it called? It's safer. Yeah. Yeah, now I understand. Okay, that's probably the reason why. Mm. And then the people that they want to get like fit, even though they got the gift of height, just join the UFC or like any other reason. I don't know. Like, let's go to this one now.
Hello, I'm
Actually, wait. Can you subscribe to this guy? I want to watch more of his videos later. Right. Okay.